Welcome back to Justin Talks Villa. If you are new around here or you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting some fantastic numbers. Subscribers have just hit the 4,000 mark. Thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed so far. Get involved in the comment section and like this video. I really appreciate everybody's support so far, and it hasn't stopped yet. The season is really close now, and the content is just going to ramp up even more with a big announcement to come at some point when I'm allowed to say, but it's big. Okay. So this is the weekly review where I'll just go over a few bits and bobs that have caught my eye. And the first bit of news, which everybody will be chuffed to bits with, is revolving around this man here, Morgan Rogers. Jacob Tanswell is reporting today that Aston Villa will be entering into negotiations to give him a new contract. But I hear you say he's only just been given a new contract. Yes, he has. He's been tied down for 5 years. But as Villa have done quite a lot over the last few seasons, when a player has achieved great things and has put themselves in that position to become one of the most important players at our club, then they are rewarded with a new contract. And irrespective of the fact he has just signed a 5-year deal, we don't know what clauses are in that. I mean, at the point of signing that, he could have had a 30, 40 million pound release clause. I mean, this one, I would imagine, with the wages upping from reportedly 75 to around the 100 mark, I would think that would go up if he has got a release clause at all, which a lot of footballers do like to have. And I think it's a great move, you know, with the summer as it is, with the players incoming not being what we would have hoped for. It was all about retention for me. It was all about keeping the squad together. And Morgan Rogers is absolutely integral to Aston Villa's continued growth on the pitch. So it is fair, I think, that he's rewarded for his position within the squad now as one of the most important players, and coming off the back of Boubacar Kamara's contract last week. It just shows that the importance of this summer is retention, keeping the squad together, keeping that tight-knit group ready to go for another long season. Yes, we haven't seen the incomings we would have liked to, but I am pretty happy, to be honest, to go with the squad that we've got. If we can nick one or two in towards the end of the window, then all the better. But if we don't, then we have to look at the depth of our current squad. And yes, there are a couple of areas where we would love a little bit more depth, but we have got some very, very good players at Aston Villa. I'm not going to list them all. You all know who they are. If you watch this, you're a big Villa fan. So let's just commend the club for acting quickly, tying down one of the key components to Aston Villa now for another bonus contract for him. I don't think anybody would begrudge him that, given how well he has performed for Villa over the last season. And when you look at the contracts that are coming up for renewal, I'm going to concentrate on 1 year and 2 year deals that are left. And these are the key players that have got 1 year left. And we've already heard rumours that Luca Dean is looking to sign or the club are looking with Unai Emery at extending his contract. Now, he's a player that a lot of us, when we brought in Emi Martinez last year, probably thought his time was nearly up at Villa, but he has proven to be a really, really solid player for us. Was excellent last season, and with him and Matson now, we would have a fantastic two battle it out over a long season at left back. Alex Moreno, don't see that contract being signed anytime soon. And again, today he's been linked with a move away, and I don't think that'll be long before he goes permanently. Ross Barkley's got a year left, but I think there's a clause where we could make it another year. So that all depends on how he goes this season. He's only 31. He's a little bit injury prone, currently left at home with injury. And the big one, the one we would love to get off the wage bill, is Leander Dendoncker. He's got a year left. So whatever happens, he's gone next summer. And hopefully we can come to some kind of agreement with him to either terminate or let him go somewhere on a season-long loan where the other club pick up hopefully the majority of his wages, but we'll have to see on that one. So as far as the 2-year deals go, Yuri Tielemans is one that I think they're going to start to be looking at. Jacob Ramsey's a very interesting one. 2 years left. Lots of noise this summer about potentially him going. So obviously if he does go, then that one is sorted. But I think if he stays and has a decent season, they're going to be looking at doing something over the next 6 months or so. They wouldn't want to let it get to the last 12 months of his deal. Leon Bailey, another one with a big question mark over his head. What do we do with him? Probably similar with Matty Cash. John McGinn, I would just give the guy a lifetime contract. I don't care. I love John McGinn. He is Aston Villa currently. He is captain, brilliant leader, fantastic character. And I think Mings' contract is okay at the moment for a 32-year-old. I think he's okay. I mean, should we get into next summer and he has a decent season, then they will probably maybe look to see how it goes from season to season. And another one, Buendia, I think another one they'll be looking to get rid of this summer, but we'll have to see how these ones play out. But the 1-year deals, Luke Dean are probably going to be the next one to be looked at if Morgan Rogers does indeed sign that contract with the club. So that's that one sorted. If anybody watched the the live phoning, then they will be very aware of a phone call I received towards the end of that live that was eye-opening for me. I didn't have a clue what was going on. If you haven't seen it, just go back and watch it. I put it all over my socials. It was some random AI-generated woman purporting to know me, and yeah, I was taken a little bit off guard. And you know what? Whoever's done that, fair play to you. You've obviously got a lot of time on your hands. You crack on. I'm not bothered. It doesn't bother me at all. My wife is a wonderful woman who I love dearly. I've been with since I was 17. So if anybody thinks that something like that was going to put any kind of dampener on my life, then they are very, very much mistaken. She was absolutely hysterically laughing at it. So yes, if someone's talking about it, it means you're doing something right. That's what I think. We won't go on about that too much. So yes, one of the big things I wanted to talk about as well was, now this was obviously the league table from last season, and we are looking at players that have left clubs in and around us. Now, there's a big fall off with teams just below our level. Now, obviously, we've talked about Morgan Rogers' deal, potential Luca Dean deal, and not that much incoming. And I am not overly concerned. I keep saying it, and I'm not lying. I'm not overly concerned. Liverpool have invested heavily. We know that. They're going to be tough to catch next season. Arsenal have improved in areas where they really were weak last season, up front with Gyökeres. Man City have spent heavily in the last 2 windows. Chelsea always spend heavily. Newcastle is a funny one because it looks like they are losing Isak, and it potentially could be to Liverpool. So can Liverpool get any stronger with Isak? Yes, I suppose they can, but they've already recruited fantastically well and already retain a very good squad anyway. So that just weakens Newcastle and probably brings them back into our sort of domain in the league. And then you look at Forest, who have lost Elanga. You look at Brighton, who have been, Pedro, Adingra, Ferguson has gone. Pedro's the big one, obviously. And then Bournemouth, Dean Hussein, Kirkes, Kepa. big names that have left Bournemouth. And, it's such a shame for these clubs that have done so well, and they've just been absolutely raided. And then Brentford obviously have lost Thomas Frank, and Buemo looks like he's going to Manchester United. Christian Norgard's already gone to Arsenal, and John Fleck, and the keeper's gone as well. So these teams that are in and around us, Newcastle, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, who we would have thought and probably thought they're going to be in and amongst where we are next season. This is why I don't think all is not lost. All is not lost for next season, and I'll retain a very positive outlook onto how we can compete next season with a roughly where we are there. On the phone in last night, we did have a chat with people's where they would be happy for us to be, and everybody was sort of in and around where we finished last season. And I genuinely think that I think we're going to hopefully retain that position between fifth and eighth. I think is a realistic prognosis for us coming up in the season. So I am very, very hopeful on that. So I just wanted to drop that in as well as a bit of an interesting aside. The next one is that Manchester United apparently, take that off, have Ollie Watkins is reporting this. Manchester United have ruled out a further approach for Emi Martinez after Villa laugh. I mean, what a laugh that is, rejecting a loan offer. Why would we loan him? Absolutely unbelievable. So no sign of Onana leaving. So the club cannot commit to a big fee and wages for Manchester United. We know that United, whilst they do have a lot of money coming into the club, they can't just go and spend willy-nilly because of the drop-off they've had over the last few years. So that's a hopefully a positive going forward. But to drop a slight negative in, there's still noise around Ollie Watkins with Manchester United. They're now reporting the Mail again that Ollie and Sesko are the two strikers that they have highlighted to end up at Manchester United. Now, we've heard this all summer, but we also heard last week that Aston Villa came out and basically issued a hands-off warning about Ollie Watkins. So, as it currently stands, as of today, what we in the 29th of July, I'm going to say currently I don't see either of them leaving. I think they both stay at Aston Villa. Obviously, anything can happen, things can change, but that's where I currently sit at the moment. I don't see anybody coming in with the money that it would take to prize either Ollie Watkins or Emi Martinez away from Aston Villa. So at the moment, I think we are okay to keep those two very, very important players. And I think both of them will see that the players that we're keeping as well, the Kamara deal would have pleased both of those players as well. So that's a really good one. Right, the next one, Aston Villa are obviously away in America on pre-season, but I'm going to flag up a game this Friday at, turn this off, Rushall Olympic. Now, Villa's under-21s are going to be playing against Rushall Olympic. Now, this is interesting for a few reasons. One, I always big up non-league football. Very important to support your local non-league team. I also really love going down to Bodymoor to watch the 21s play. I've seen some fantastic players come through over the years that I've been down to watch that. And we have got another special group coming through. We've seen a lot of them play in those first two pre-season games. So if you want to come down and watch those players play in the flesh, you can get that opportunity this Friday, 7:30 at Rushall Olympics ground. This is the only picture I could find, so you don't have to have the hospitality. You can just go in and watch them. As I say, go and support your local team. I'm a big advocate of non-league football. I love Chasetown Football Club, Hensford Football Club. I will be going a lot to Rushall next season, and the reason I'll be going a lot to Rushall next season is this fella here. This fella here. Now, he called in last night on the phone in. This is Carter Lyson, and he's currently dating my eldest daughter. Yes. But I will say this live on this podcast, that he's a lovely lad. He's a really nice kid, to be fair. And he's just signed for Rushall Olympic from Bromsgrove Sporting. And he's a really good player, and he'll be playing on Friday night. He's a left back, attacking left back for Rushall Olympic against Aston Villa under-21. So I'll be really split loyalties on that one. I'll be obviously cheering him on, but watching the young Villa players as well. So get yourself down to Rushall on Friday night. I'll be there. So if you see me, come and say hello, and we can have a chat about all things Aston Villa. Right, let's move on to what have we got next? We've got, right, tomorrow. So as I say, it's Tuesday. So Wednesday, I am back on the interview trail with 2 interviews in one day that I'm going to be editing over the next week or so. I'm going to be struggling to get anything out this weekend because I'm heading down to Oasis this weekend in London, which I am absolutely so looking forward to. I've seen all the videos and everything coming out from their gigs, and it looks incredible. So I'll do a bit of video in as well and keep you in the loop with that. So tomorrow I'm doing 2 interviews in one day. I've got one in the morning at 10 o'clock, and then I am meeting this man. And whoever, the person I'm interviewing in the morning, I'll tell you in a minute, won't mind me putting this man first, because it is Sir Dennis Mortimer. Now, I've spoken to him on Up the Villa podcast. I did an interview with him via Zoom, which was great. Great to talk to him. And I've become quite friendly with Dennis, and I talked to him a bit, and I asked him if he would come on my podcast and talk to me about anything to do with Aston Villa. Now, we are going to touch on the obvious, the European Cup, 100%. We'll have a chat about that. We'll have a chat about him signing for Villa. But what I want to do with Dennis, and what he's agreed to do, is have a chat about modern Villa, about this summer, about Unai Emery, about his feelings about going into the new season, what his expectations are, how he feels it's going to go, just to get his insight into modern Aston Villa. So I shall be talking to Dennis tomorrow afternoon, the man who is emblazoned forever on my arm. There you go, Dennis Mortimer. There's my Villa tattoo, which is soon to be added to. See if you can have a in the comments who's going to come here. There's a player that's going to be tattooed next to Dennis on my arm. A very important player for me personally. So that's really exciting. Looking forward to seeing Dennis tomorrow and having a chat with him. And the other one, now, when I started this podcast, I said I wanted to interview everybody and anybody to do with Aston Villa. So that's managers, which I've been lucky to do with Brian Little, players, which I've been lucky to do with Mark Albrighton. I've interviewed Kevin Gage. I've interviewed Peter With. I've interviewed Gary Thompson. And, go back and watch those, because they will stay there forever. I mean, they're not huge. They don't give me huge numbers, and I don't do it for that reason. I do it to get these interviews out onto a platform where they will remain forever, to give a historical record of the players that have played for our club. Now, whether they've played one game or 500 games, to me, they're a part of Aston Villa's history. And, I've got another player coming up soon, which I'm trying to organise a date with, who didn't play that many games for Villa, but I want to hear his story. Why did he come to Villa? He had a huge career, European Golden Boot winner. That'll give you a hint, see if you can guess who it is. But I want to talk to everybody. So yeah, that'll be really interesting. I'm talking to other sports people. I've got trying to get Catherine Merry on, but I just can't get the diaries aren't meeting up. I've got young Dan Mosley from Warwickshire as well coming on. Chris Wokes, he's agreed to come on, but he's currently selfishly playing for England against India in the Test series, which is magnificent. So, yeah, I've got a plethora of people coming on, but I've also got what I class, like myself, just the average, normal, everyday fan. I've got a couple of those lined up to come on. And this chap, who I've been a friend of for a really long time, and when I decided to do this, I messaged him pretty straight away, and I said, look, and the reason I'm talking to him tomorrow, you'll see when the video comes out. This is this chap here, Ruge. Now, if you know Villa or live in the Midlands, especially Sutton Coldfield, you'll know Rue. He owns Vivid Ink Tattoo Studio, where a lot of the Villa players go and have tattoos. So I'm hoping he'll have some good stories about those guys. He is a DJ, as you can see here. He's got his own studio in his house. I'm going to talk to him about his DJing, his tattoo studio. But the other two reasons, and I'm not going to give the one away, is he loves memorabilia, as I do, as you can see in the bar. And I will talk about this thing here as well in a minute. He loves memorabilia, and he has got at his house one of the best bits of memorabilia I have ever seen. I haven't seen it live, and that's why I'm going tomorrow to talk to him about it and to video it, and I'll bring it to you. So a little bit of a hint there. But he also, I love collecting Villa shirts. I've got every Villa shirt, home, away, and third back to the 70s. Every one, even the really rare ones. Not the really, really rare ones. I've got some copies of the rarest ones because I can't get hold of the really rare ones. But this man here has got a collection that will blow your mind of shirts. Match worn shirts. And he has handpicked out a selection of his favorites. And we're going to talk about them tomorrow. So I'm really, really excited to go and talk to Rue tomorrow about his shirts. So that's what's coming up on the channel. As I say, I really like to bring a totally different set of Villa social media and you know, content to you, because I just love everything Aston Villa, as you can tell here. So yeah, match stuff, non-match stuff, fans, players, managers, talking, phone-in shows, under 21s, non-league stuff. I'm going to be doing a little bit. I've spoke to the guys at Rush Hall, and they're going to let me come down and do a bit of videoing down at Rush Hall. So I'm going to do a bit of Chase Town, which I've already done with Steve Jones, who's a massive Villa fan. I'm going to interview him as well because he's a huge Villa fan. He goes in the corporate at Villa, and he owns a football club. So I want to hear about his insight, what it was like buying a football club, running a football club at that level. Hensford as well, who have spent a lot of money this summer. So the content is just going to explode when the season starts. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Come along with the journey with me. I've absolutely loved starting my own channel, talking about football, talking about my passion and my love of Aston Villa. So please, if you haven't already, the numbers are fantastic, honestly. They're brilliant. One thing I have noticed is more people are watching than are subscribing. So I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong, but if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy me talking about Villa, and you can come and talk with me and put your opinion across, we can go along it together and build a really strong community, which we've started to already. There's some lovely people that come on a Monday night now and come on the phone in and get involved in the comment section. So join in with Justin Talks Villa. As I say, I've got a huge announcement. When I'm allowed to talk about it, I will do a video on it. And it's something that's just blown my mind that's happened over the summer. But I can't talk about it yet because I had to sign things to say I wouldn't. But when that drops, it's brilliant and I can't wait to share it. One more thing I'm going to is this here. If you can see it. Right, I'll try and get the camera, if I can do it, to focus on this. Right. This, I'll get myself out of this picture because I look horrific. Right, try and do that. This is a fantastic bit of artwork which I've had done. James, a friend of mine, is a plasterer, but he specialises in Venetian plaster. And this board here is Venetian plaster. It is handmade. No two are the same. It's called Marmarino, and it is handcrafted plaster finish with lime and marble powder. As I say, no two are the same. And he showed me he was making these, and he very, very kindly offered to give me one because I said I've got this spot here that I needed something in. And I said, okay, that's very kind of you, but I will give you a shout out on the podcast. I promise to do that in return for giving me this, because it's absolutely wonderful. You're going to see it behind my head on every single podcast from now on, unless I block it, which I probably will. So yeah, but that's his email there. So if you fancy one of these, I think you can make them in 60 by 60, which is that 80 by 80. But just email him if you really fancy one. It's hard to see on here, but the finish is amazing. It's like marble effect, but it's like a real craftsman thing. He does micro cement, so like bathrooms and stuff. So instead of tiling, you can have the whole bathroom. But yeah, whatever. But I just love it. When he showed it me, I thought I've got to have one over the bar. So I'm over the moon that he's gifted me one, obviously in return for me giving him a shout out, but it's a great card, big Villa fan. So head over to jbcvenetian@gmail.com. He's also on, let me just double check this, TikTok, Instagram and Facebook at jbcvenetian. So yeah, go and have a look at his work. Really, really worth a look. So yeah, that's my little help a small business out. There you go. I'm a small businessman as well, so every little bit of help in the Villa community helps. So I'm going to shut up now because I've gone on long enough. Thanks ever so much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this little episode where I've just gone over a few little bits and bobs. Don't forget, Friday night 7:30, Russia Olympic, Villa's under 21s are there, and drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all soon.